Hey, what's going on, guys? This is us again, once again, on a segment on YS Stocks and Options YouTube channel. I wanted to go over a few charts with you guys, right? What we see in the market, what we expect to see in the market for the next few days. Two things we're going to talk about, really projection for the weeks to follow, right? Really ending this week and how the market has become bearish. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the VIX, right? So currently right now, this is my TD Ameritrade account. So we're going to look at the VIX. As you guys know, the VIX is the fear index. And for quite some time, the VIX had been uh, trending lower, right? As we see here on this particular day, which is the 20th of December, the VIX had went lower and lower and lower, right? And as we know, the VIX is really the reciprocal oscillator for the market. So whenever the VIX trades lower, right, starting the 20th of December, right, it became bullish here on the 4th of January, right? You can see the opposite was the trajectory of the market, and the market, us discussed it SPY here, just for this iteration. So on the 20th of December, you can see the date here, right? The market was trending up, right? As the VIX, of course, was trending down, right? And the fourth was the pivotal day in which the fear index, or the VIX, really turned around and it spiked up on yesterday, the 5th of January. Hence, you see the sell-off here that occurred on the SPY. And of course, you saw the sell-off in the QQQ, the NASDAQ, and the rest of the market too, right? So that's the fear index. So what we've seen is that the next few days, right, really projecting the VIX to touch the 2196, right? As you guys can see, there's actually a gap that has to be filled here, right? And we know that gaps are filled about 80 to 90% of the time, right? So with this gap being filled, or having to be filled here, small little gap, right? With this small little gap here needing to be filled, really projecting the VIX to touch 2285, right? Between 2207 to 2205, 2285, right? So needless to say, we're going to see more pain in the market, right? More bearish trend in the market, being that we've had such a huge run for the last 2 weeks, and we had some consolidation. And you guys know that the market always accumulates, right? So this was like a short period of accumulation. We had some advancing in the market, some distribution, right? Trading sideways, and now we're in a decline phase, right? The selling off right here. So, and again, the opposite is what we saw in the VIX, the fear index, right? Since December 20th, it's been trending down. Was trading sideways here for quite some time from the 27th of December, past Christmas, all the way to the 4th of January, which you saw the reciprocal in the S&P 500 or SPY, right? And boom, huge sell-off here. And this really has to do with, in part, with the Fed minutes pointed out earlier yesterday, right? They pointed out there's going to be a faster rate of hikes and more aggressive tightening, right? So that was really the catalyst that brought this a little bit down. We have been expecting the market to pull back a little bit because it was trending higher uh, during what people mostly call the seasonal Christmas rally here. And then it started consolidating. So this was something that we expected. Hence why we bought SPY puts, and we just waited for the time to be right. So yesterday, the Federal Reserve minutes really pointed out that they're going to take a more hawkish pivotal point into the faster rate hikes, increasing this into a quick startup to normalize the central bank's massive balance sheets, right? So that's what they're looking into. And that was released Wednesday afternoon. And the policymakers just signaled 3 rate increases this year and 3 the following years as inflation concerns deepens, right? So that's what really took once this news was released, we saw a huge sell-off in the S&P 500. And if we look at the other indexes, you see the same thing too, right? Boom. This was a signal here for quickly to enter into some puts. And then we saw here yesterday, in which the market started to go lower. As we say, we're still anticipating the market to go lower. The stochastics crossed the sell signal here. We have the histogram pointing downward, right? Currently, this the QQQ or the Nasdaq is actually 100 is pointing downward, and we anticipated hitting $380.45 as a key support area, and possibly going as low as 371, right? So we're going to be watching for these key support levels here for us to look into the reversal for our strategy as the sell-off ends. But huge volume, we had huge volume of mostly selling pressure here. 58 million transactions occurred on the 4th, right? That's the 4th here. Of course, you can look at the data on the bottom. So 58 million transactions occurred on the 4th, and right, this was we noticed here that this was a bearish engulfing candlestick, or inside bars, we like to call it. And then the next day, right, when the Fed minutes came out for the past month, closing out the year, December, we saw huge, even more transactions here, 75 million. Average is usually 56 million, but yesterday was a little bit higher, which indicated people buying and selling as they hedge themselves into new positions and whatnot. So, and getting rid of some of their trades here. Again, same thing we're seeing with the Qs, right? With the triple Qs, we're seeing a downward trend. The histogram, of course, trending down, stochastics pointing downward as well. Again, key levels that we're looking at for consolidation, 380.64, right? That's the 2 ATR. And then we're also looking at another key level of support at 373.46, or the weekly pivot here of 371.41. So these are the key levels that we'll be expecting to see possible consolidations as we look into a possible reversal, right? Again, with this massive selling here, or red candle, we anticipate the selling to descend, right? Touching these key pivotal points here, and we're still in this trade, right? We're still in this trade to see how far we're going to get with the triple Qs. We bought some puts day before yesterday, and we did really well, but it's still, we're holding to try to see how far we're going to get into it. But so again, the VIX, we're looking for the VIX to rally a little bit higher to 22, filling in this gap here, right? Filling the gap over here, right? At 22.9. Everything is pointing towards that. We see the histogram here crossing the buy signal. We have a buy signal here, but of course, this isolator, it's not something that we trade, but this is a pretty good outlook on what we expect the market to do, being that this, the fear index, or the VIX as it is called, is the reciprocal of the market. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, we see the market trending down for the next few days, probably stabilizing on Friday, if not Friday, the next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. But it's more to follow, right? Hopefully this was helpful. Again, this is a trade that we got into it. We're doing pretty well in it. For bonus, I really want to talk about something else, right? I want to talk about AMD with you guys, right? So AMD play that we're looking into right now. Let's see here. We really like AMD for this year. But as we see with AMD, it was overly extended, right? AMD was really trading pretty high. But we had some selling on the 3rd. Was part of the Qs, AMD is. So we had some selling on the 3rd of January. We also had some selling yesterday, as you guys can imagine, when the market was down, right? So we really are interested in seeing what AMD is going to do, right? We marked this trend line here for 128. That's the projected area in which we want to look into buying AMD, right? Buying some calls for the future. AMD reports earnings on 26th of January. So we're looking to buy some puts when the bell rings and getting out, taking profits at this area here. Really the second ATR, which is $129.85. And we want to see some consolidation around this area or even below before we actually think about buying some calls for the upside, right? So that's what we're seeing for AMD right now. That's an easy trade that we're looking into getting in and out. But as you can see with the stochastics here, the AMD is trending down, right? See volume here of a lot of transactions on the 3rd, right? Of course, we're going to see more selling tomorrow on the 6th of January. And after that, right, we anticipate AMD to continue to go a little bit lower and consolidating eventually around this area here, right? We believe that AMD, this is a key, we believe that this is a key level of support for AMD, $128.38, being this is a weekly pivot. But of course, we're looking to purchase AMD calls in this area here between $122.34 and $128.53, right? That's where we're looking into buying our calls for the upside as AMD reports earnings on the 26th, right? We're gonna look at the weekly chart, right? So let's look at the weekly chart, why we think AMD has a little bit more downside to go. So as we look at AMD, again, and each one of these candles represents a week. So we saw here shooting star forming, right? So we had a bullish candle, then we had a shooting star here, and now we have, this is called an evening star, these 3 candles together, right? So we're seeing more bearish, more downtrend for AMD. Looking for AMD to hit support here at the 21-day moving average at $120.25, right? Each one of these represents a week, and really anticipating some type of consolidation here, right? Before we buy our calls as AMD reports earning again at the end of the month, end of this month. Do we think it's going to beat earnings? We don't know, right? But what we do know is that we can get into the trade early in order for us to take advantage of the rally as it goes to the upside, right? AMD is a solid company, a lot of good products that they have coming out. So we just want to take heed of that opportunity for us to jump in a trade between, again, $131 to $122.66 around this area here for the upside, possibly taking profits at 142 or 150th, right? That's what we're looking into taking profits, right? So yeah, volume here, right? We have a evening star here formed in these candlesticks. You guys can look that up. Evening star, bullish candle. Right? This represents 3 weeks ago. Then we had a shooting star followed by a bearish candle, right? So here we're projecting AMD to come just a little bit lower into our price period. And I'll do a video so we can actually see this in next week and see if it actually hits our target. Again, our target being $122.62 and to 131. So we're going to buy some puts when the market opens, ride it all the way down to 128. And then, of course, look for a re-entry point into AMD shooting up for earnings. Right? So hopefully this was helpful. A few stocks that we look into. And also let us know what you guys think, right? So again, this is Castro here, YS Stocks and Options. And we always say this, right? Always practice logic over emotions. And more importantly, if you do anything else, right, make sure you see us at the finish line. Peace and God bless.